How many of you have found yourself laying in bed, blowing your nose, coughing up your lungs at least once in your life? Raise your hands. Alright. And how many of you have suddenly felt the urge to break a pen, smash a window, or literally scream with all the voice you've got at least once in your life? Raise your hand. Alright, thank you. I know it may seem that those two questions are completely unrelated, but I'm here today to reveal their surprising connection. I'm going to tell you how your emotions change how your body works. We've all heard from the news or from somebody we know about the devastating effects of stress on our bodies. I mean, psychologists write books about it all the time. Every day new medications appear on the shelves that are supposed to treat our migraine, sleeping disorder, anxiety, all resulting from excessive amounts of stress. But we've also heard on the news about a growing number of people suffering from dangerous infections such as pneumonia, bronchitis, meningitis, all of those caused by low immunity. And we're familiar with the immense amount of medication used to treat both our stress and our low immunity, but separately. And when we have either of those problems, we run to the closest pharmacy and find the answer in pills. But I want us to take it one step back and look at the origin of the problem, the underlying connection between emotion and body response. First of all, let's take a look at our surroundings. In the world in which we live in today, we need to live fast. Check the phone, read the news, stay connected, always updated, work hard, often too hard, meet society's expectations every single day. It can be overwhelming sometimes. Because we're constantly doing something, even if it's simply scrolling through social media, which we consider as rest, our brain receives information that it needs to process, so we never truly rest. Because we're so busy all the time, we barely have any time left just for ourselves, our thoughts, our personal time for reflection. And because we lack this time for our reflection, we often tend to fall into the trap of our emotions, staying into angry, depressive moods for hours, days, even weeks, oblivious of the consequences this can have on our body and our health. I mean, when we think of ourselves as a whole, we tend to isolate the emotions from the whole series of biochemical reactions that happen inside of our body. When in fact, it is not truly so. Let me show you how it works. Can you all please stand up for a moment? Great. Now you can all sit down. Do you realize what you just did? You had the conscious thought of standing up, so your brain sent a signal through your neurons to your legs to make them move in a particular way so that you could stand up. Just like this simple thought can make your legs move, every single feeling that we experience has a certain impact on a part of our body. In 2013, Finnish scientists conducted research from which this body atlas, or also known as a heat map, was created. Over 700 participants were shown emotional pictures, words, stories, movies, facial expressions, to which they reacted and experienced a certain emotion. And they had to write which part of their body changed as a result from their emotion. Red signifies warmth and blue signifies cold, as you can see on the images. Now, take a look at the image and relate it to yourself. I bet all of you have been put out of your comfort zone at least once in your life, when you felt a bit uncomfortable or ashamed, and you've had people tell you how much you're blushing. Well, if we take a look at the image up here, we'll see that it is the cheeks that warm up the most, which is exactly blushing. This is one example. Now think about the last time you got really angry. Didn't you feel like your chest was on fire or your head was going to explode? Just like on the image up there? You see, this heat map only proves that whatever happens in your brain inevitably impacts your body. But the small changes in temperature are just a small aspect of what actually happens inside of your body when you feel a certain way. In 2003, Richard Davison, a professor of psychology and psychiatry at the University of Wisconsin, conducted research on the topic of emotion and body response. With his colleagues, they designed an experiment where 52 men and women at the age of 46 were asked to recall both of their best and their worst experiences in their entire lives on paper. For their best, they had to write about intense happiness or joy, and for their worst, intense happiness, anger, or sadness. After this autobiographical task, they were given flu vaccines, and their antibody levels were measured after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 6 months. Now, that's a lot of information, a little bit of context. The antibodies level refer to the strength of the immune system. The more antibodies, meaning higher level of antibodies, means stronger immune system, and vice versa. And during this autobiographical task, the electrical activity of their brain was measured. So, more specifically, the prefrontal cortex, or for the duration of this talk, I refer to it as the PFC. So the PFC is divided into two parts. The left PFC, activating when we experience happiness and joy, and the right PFC, anger, sadness, or fear. The PFC is pretty important because it regulates our behavior, decision making, and even personality. And you'll see that it's crucial in this experiment. So interestingly enough, the researchers found that the people with the highest activity in their right PFC, when they were recalling bad moments, had a notably lower antibody level, meaning a weaker immune system and a higher risk of infections. However, the ones with the greatest activity in their left PFC, where they're experiencing happy emotions, have a very increased level of antibodies, meaning a lower risk of infection, and so they prove to be having a stronger immune system. So, the better the thought, the stronger the body in the end, because the researchers found a clear link between emotions we experience and strength of our immune system. And why is that, you may ask? Well, the short answer is biochemistry and neurology. But I'm going to give you a very simple example, step by step, of what happens inside of your body when you feel a certain way. So let's take sadness, for example. Sadness is a tricky emotion, as our brain perceives as its stress, as it disrupts normal functioning of the body the same way stress does. So when this happens, our brain releases the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol. Those stress hormones are associated with our defense mechanism, preparing our body for action. And this mechanism was especially useful for our ancestors, as when they went hunting, for example, and saw a bear approaching, they were able to run fast. And this ultimately saved their lives. But because they experienced stress over a short period of time, then their bodies had time to recover. Nowadays, the picture is a little bit different. Because we tend to experience stress over long periods of times, over and over again, those continuous release of stress hormones actually impacts our heart. It raises our blood pressure and blood sugar, and although we may not necessarily realize it on a daily basis, this slows down our heart with time and prevents it from using its full blood pumping capacity, which alone can lead to a number of serious health issues and can be even fatal sometimes. In 2015, researchers found that high blood pressure and high blood sugar release destructive molecules that can interfere with the body's natural defense mechanism system, which is our immune system in the end. So eventually, you see there's some pretty strong evidence and correlation between negative emotions and weak immune system, and on the other hand, positive emotions and a stronger immune system and better health and lower risk of infections. And now, I'm not trying to convince you that having a constant positive attitude will make you immune to any disease. The point is to understand what kind of impact we can have on ourselves through our bodies and emotions, through our emotions on our bodies every single day. So, maybe next time you can ask yourself, is it really worth it thinking about the really bad moment I had last week while I re-experienced the heating in my chest or the cold in my feet? Because at the speed at which we live today, life is all about appreciating the small moments that make us happy or thrilled. So why not create more happy moments for yourself and those around you? I mean, find a new hobby, spend time with the people you love, or ride a roller coaster. It's natural medicine. Thank you.